start our recording.
Well,
How do you guys manage your calendar?
I've pretty much moved to Google Calendars,
Okay.
and I just block out what I have to do.
Okay. How about you, Wally?
Yeah, I mean, well, I was using Outlook before,
Okay.
so and I still have both things. I still have most of my things in Outlook,
Okay.
but I'm trying to to migrate into Google right now.
Okay.
So, but if I have an appointment, I still put it in both. But eventually, I want to keep it to just one.
Okay. Now, what are some of are you having any issues making that transition over, or is it just a time thing?
It's because I've used Microsoft Outlook for over 20 years.
Yep. So it's just what you're used to.
Yeah, so that's what I'm used to. But I also see some good stuff on Google. So,
Okay.
and that's why I'm trying to make the transition. Plus, all KW stuff are on there. So, as long as I'm not leaving KW, I'll like to migrate in that direction.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So one of the big reasons, the reason that I use Google Calendar itself. Okay. The first big reason is that, yeah, all of our Keller Williams technology is integrated into Google Calendar, okay? And as we see the launch, I believe, of some of this newer technology, KW Command, for instance, and things like that we're going to see this year, they are a lot more deeply embedded into Google Calendar, right? So that if you were to say to Kelly, your mobile app, book me an appointment for 3 p.m. with Frank, right? That's actually going to be booked through Google Calendar. And so therefore, I believe it's a good idea that if you're not using it now, great to hear you say that, Wally, I think now might be a good time to start getting on this platform because it'll just make things easier as you go. Okay. Now, let me ask you this, just so I can make sure I hit some things. Are any of you guys having current struggles with your calendar that you're hoping using an online calendar can help you with?
Well, I'm having a little bit of trouble integrating my personal calendar with the KW calendar.
Okay.
It seems if I register for a webinar or something like that, it says add it to your calendar. It gets added to my personal calendar.
Okay.
Which is good, but it's not on my, well, yeah, I guess then I go to my KW calendar, everything appears in red.
Okay. So what you're saying is, Frank, you have a regular Gmail account, and then you also have your @KW email address. And when you like something or you approve something, it's sometimes going to one calendar and not the other.
Correct.
Okay. How about you, Wally?
Well, I don't have that problem.
Okay.
I don't have that problem right now. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do this. All right. I'm going to share my screen with you guys, if you don't mind. And let's actually jump on here and look at a few things. So, all right, share screen. Let's go ahead and pull up the screen here. All right. So, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, very good. So we have two email accounts, right? You have one that's a Gmail account where you have Google up top here, and then you have the @KW account, which is this one here. Yes.
Correct.
Okay. So that's how you know whether or not you're on one or the other. So, for instance, I keep both my tabs open because I have emails that come to my personal account, but then I also have my KW account.
So do I.
Okay.
Keep both of them open, yeah.
All right, good. The easiest way to get to your calendar is you want to be logged into your Gmail account. Okay. So, for instance, I'm in my @KW account here. I got my Keller Williams up here in the corner. What I'm going to do is on the top right-hand side, there are these tiles. You guys see these tiles up here?
Yeah. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, yeah.
All right. Wally, you see where I'm at up here?
These buttons, yeah.
I can't see your mouse.
Move it down. Move your.
Okay, now see.
All right, can you see my mouse now?
Yes, I can see it now.
All right, see these little tiles right here?
Yeah.
All right, so what we're going to do is, again, once you're logged into your Gmail account, when you click on these tiles, the rest of these guys are all Google products, okay? And so basically when you have one account with Google, you basically have an account all the way across the board with the rest of these tools. Right here in the second row for me, and this may be different for you, because the way that these appear is going to be based on usage, okay, is you're going to want to click on calendar. Now, if you don't see it, you're going to want to click this more button, and when you click more, there should be a drop-down box, and it should be in this lower spot here.
Correct.
Okay? Everybody good so far?
Yeah.
I'm good on that, yeah.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to click on calendar. Now, before I do that, I'm going to take a brief pause here. We had a great class on Friday with Tony Giordano out of Los Angeles. And what he was explaining to us is that Google, in order to rank you and to push you up in the SEO searches, and as people Google your name, where does your actual web page and things like that show up, he was discussing about how Google wants to make sure that you're using as many Google products as you can, okay? So for instance, if you have let's say a Google Plus account or like a social media account on Google, but you use Hotmail as your email address, right? You kind of get a check in the good column and then a check in the bad column, because they have an email program, right, Gmail, that they want you to use. And so he was talking about just getting to know all these different buttons in here, because all of these things are owned by Google. The more of them that you use in your day-to-day business, the better Google sees you. Okay, so that's just a quick little sidebar.
Okay, good.
Okay, which was surprising to me. I knew that you want to be on some Google products, but he was basically saying they know whether or not you're using YouTube. They know whether or not you're using Instagram. So they know who's using what from what different areas.
Who is that?
What's up, Maggie?
Hi, I can't figure this damn thing out.
Well, you're there. You can see it.
I don't have the volume on.
You're good. Can you hear me?
I'm so embarrassed. Here.
Can you see me, Maggie?
Turn the volume up, Maggie.
Maggie, can you hear me or no? Okay, maybe not. All right, Maggie, I can hide you. I'll stop Maggie's video until she comes back up again. All right. All right, so here's what we're going to do. All right, so we're right here on the home page. We're going to click on calendar, yes?
Yes.
All right, so we click on calendar. Now this might look familiar to you guys that are using this. You go ahead and bring this up just a little bit. Okay, so does this look familiar to everybody?
Yes, it does.
All right. So a few things. This was an update. This screen right here, it was an update from a couple months ago. Okay, about 2 to 3 months ago. So if this is not the way that it looks on your computer, make sure you go in and you upgrade. All right. I used to be able to go back and show you the older version, but you can no longer do that. All right. One of the quick ways to know whether or not you have the newer version or not is this little plus sign down here in the bottom right-hand corner. Okay, that's a new feature, and that's on the updated version. So that's how you know whether or not you have the latest update or not. Okay. Now, yep. Go ahead. Did you have something there, Wally?
No. I was just saying okay.
Okay, good. All right. Top left-hand corner, right? We've got the entire month. So up here, I can click around and look at my days out, obviously, right? Down here in the middle, you're going to see two different things. You're going to see your calendars, okay? And then also other calendars, all right? So these are ones typically that you have set up, yours personally. And then you also have additional ones. Now, let me show you the way this works. They can all be color-coded, all right? So, for instance, I can take off everything on my calculator except for what shows up on our intranet calendar for the office. Everybody see that?
Sure.
Okay. Now, what I can do is I can then layer in additional calendars, okay? So, for instance, I've got my own business calendar, right? This is my day-to-day calendar. And you see when I click on that, everything comes back in. Everything that's in red, right, is my business calendar. So for instance, I got a meeting this afternoon at 2:30 with this guy, Jason. If I click off of that red box, right, all of my personal calendars go away. Now I can only see the office. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Now I also have an additional calendar, which is not a business calendar, but instead a personal calendar. Okay. So you're going to see things like my uncle's birthday, right? My cousin's birthday, my best friend Ben's birthday down in Richmond. So I can put in a personal calendar, but I may not want to look at that every single day. Okay. And it may clutter up what I'm looking at on a daily basis. So what I can do is, unclick that calendar when I don't need to see it on a regular basis. Okay. Now, the standard view is going to be the month. Okay. Up here in the top right-hand section, you can toggle on what you see, though. Okay, so for instance, I might click week here. It's going to change my view into that the week view. Okay. Any questions so far?
No, I use this all the time. Yeah. Okay.
All right, good. So one of the things it's going to do, guys, is going to ghost out. All right. The color is going to change, right? That color was the same as my red color. But once we get past that time of the day, that gets shaded out. Okay. So you'll notice as I go backwards, everything is shaded because it's been in the past.
Yep.
Okay. As I move forward, everything is going to stay in the color in which it's in. Okay. Now, one of the nice things about this view here is I can take something and I can move it. All right. So let's say Jason at 2:30 today cancels on me. And he said, all right, can I schedule tomorrow at 2:30? If I've got that time available, I can just switch him and move him right over to 2:30 tomorrow. Okay. I can move him to Saturday. I can move him to Monday, whatever it's going to be. Once I create that meeting time, it can be changed around. All right. Now, a couple little tips. The first one is going to be up here on the calendar, the monthly calendar. It'll show me whatever I highlight. Okay, so let's say I just highlight these 2 weeks worth of time. Right, my calendar will just show me those 2 weeks worth of time. Everybody see that?
Yep.
I didn't know that. Okay, good.
And so this is a feature that a lot of people don't know about. Let's say I just want to see 3 days. Okay, I just highlight those 3 days, and those 3 days get blown up right in front of me. Okay, so and a lot of times, where I use this is at the end of 1 month, starting a new month. Okay, because if I'm in the April view and a month view, it's going to stop on this week, and I've got to be able to pull in the next, or I've got to go forward the next month to get to that next week. Okay, so that's how I'm going to be able to view all of these things here that are on the calendar. All right. Now, how do you make an event? Let's go back into the monthly view. Okay. How do you make an event? Now, before we used to have a few little buttons up here that have gone away in the updates. So some people have gotten lost on this. So 2 ways. If I know I have a meeting for tomorrow, the 24th, the easiest way to set an appointment for the 24th is simply to double click on an open area on your calendar. Okay. When I do that, you're going to notice it's going to open up this block to create my event. And it's already scheduled on the 24th because that was the day I double clicked. Okay. Now I can write in here, call with Frank and Wally and Maggie. Okay. Now notice the default is going to be that it's an all-day event.
Yeah, you got to unclick that.
So when I unclick this, it gives me the opportunity then to pick a time. And let's say tomorrow we're going to meet at 1 o'clock tomorrow, between 1 and 1:30. Okay. Now, Frank, this might be a little bit of a troubleshoot based on what you're talking about, but I know it's not everything. One of the things you want to make sure of, guys, is that you have selected which one of your calendars is this event supposed to be under. Okay. So let's say this was maybe a family event, right? I might want to make sure that it's logged underneath my personal calendar, which is right now tagged as yellow. All right. But for our purposes, right, today, this is a business meeting. It's in red. I can write in any sort of description. And one thing I'd suggest you do is go ahead and put in your location, right? So that if you have to find out where you're driving, so let's say this is a listing appointment per se, right? Make sure you put the address of your listing appointment in the actual calendar. The reason being is I can then right from here click on, go to appointment on my phone, and it'll pull up the directions in Google Calendar as long as that address is in my phone.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I got add location, and I can also add in any sort of description that I might need to do. Now, the second thing is over here in guests, okay, is where I can invite people so that they don't need to also create a Google Calendar invite. Okay, so in this case, what I would do is, and it searches by email address, right? I'd go here and I'd find Frank, and I'd go here and I'd find Wally. All right, now you're going to notice I've got Kyle Holloran as the organizer, then I've got Frank, and then I've got Wally. Now, when I go to save this, it will ask me whether or not I would like to send this invitation to you. Okay? So I create the event 1 to 1:30, and then I can go up here and I can go ahead and click save. Now, when I do that, again, you're going to notice, would you like to send invitations to your guests? And if this were a real life event, I would click send, okay? And then you guys would have the opportunity to hit approve, okay? And once you approve it, going back here, a little checkbox, a little green check mark comes up next to us, meaning that you've RS approved, okay? So I know that if I'm having a client appreciation event maybe, and I emailed this out to everybody, I can go back here and see who has approved that event and who has not. Okay? Any questions there? All right, so go ahead and save this. I'm gonna hit don't send for right now, just I don't want to send you guys an invite to confuse it. Right? And then some people might decline your schedule this meeting outside of the guest working hours. Right? So today is a non-working day for Wally, wherever they grab that from. I know he's working, so I can just hit save. Okay? And then there you're going to see the call is set up with Frank and Wally and Maggie. And again, if I needed to move that to Thursday, I can move that to Thursday. Now, when I move something, it's going to say, would you like to send updates to existing guests? Right? So if you have a change in that calendar, I can make the decision that, yes, I would like to send a notice to them, letting them know that I moved the time of our meeting. Okay?
Yes.
All right. So that's how you create an event and send out invites. What questions do you guys have around those two things?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Maggie.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Wally. I thought he was going to say something.
No, I'm okay with it too. This is what I use all the time.
All right, good. Maggie, what'd you have?
I have never used Google much for anything, or the calendar, or really a calendar at all. I'm really bad. I use like my book, like my paper book.
Yep.
And I just want to ask you, is everybody using this now? And because the only one that I know is my iCalendar, which is everything I've been using on my Apple for all these years.
For sure.
You know, if I use it, I put it in there. But I don't use the calendar to remind me of everything.
Yeah, so what we had talked about was, I think Wally's using a different calendar. He's using like Outlook, right? I know Maggie, like you said, if you're using your iCalendar, that's, if you do use one, that's what you use. I have two schools of thought here. The first one is use what you're consistently going to use, right? So, don't start, honestly, like I promise you guys, right? Don't start this if your plan is not to use it on a daily basis, okay? Because then what we're doing is we're just wasting time on tasks that are not going to be something you're going to follow through on. Now, that being said, this could be a good idea to start working on this and just blocking 10 minutes a day to go in and working on your calendar. I think it can help you get a lot of your other things organized maybe in your business. Now, the reason we're using Google Calendar is because it's tied into Keller Williams technology.
Right.
There's a relationship between Keller Williams and Google.
Mm-hmm.
And as I explained at the beginning, I know that we were getting online, the new KW command system, all of your appointments and your time blocking is all going to be run through the Google Calendar. So I think the more that you are on board with your Google Calendar and understanding how it works, the easier transition you'll have when that comes out a little bit later this year.
Okay.
Okay.
I figured that was probably about what the answer was going to be.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's what it was. It also just has some different easy features that I think once you get in there and start using, you can make it a part of your day-to-day.
Right.
For instance, my Siri is attached to my Google Calendar.
Ah.
So when I go in and I say, add a meeting for tomorrow at 2 p.m. with Frank, it automatically is loaded into my Google Calendar.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I've set it up now that I've got basically everything working onto one calendar so that I'm not dropping anything, nothing falls in between the cracks.
Hey, Kyle?
Yes.
Can Kelly do the same thing?
Yeah, so Kelly, exactly that, right? When you book anything or ask for an appointment or whatever it's going to be, that's all going to be through Google Calendar. Yep. Right now, you can't book anything because none of you guys have KW Command yet, and that's the program that actually runs through. But yes, Kelly will run through.
All right. Okay.
Okay. All right. So if you need to make multiple calendars, so I've had people say, let's talk about your personal life for a minute. I have people that say I've created a calendar for every one of my kids. Okay. Just so that I know like where they are and when they're going to be there. And then on a weekly view or on a daily view, right, I can start to see, okay, where are my kids overlapping? Where am I going to have conflict? Right. And make sure I'm there to pick everybody up or do whatever it is I need to do. Okay. Now, a few business tips here I'd like to get into, which would be, let me go back to my month view. You can have reoccurring time slots. Okay. So by that, what I mean is, who here needs to get a little bit better at lead generation? Anybody?
I think I do.
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody.
Hey, Kyle.
Yes.
I just added the team meetings on a recurring basis.
Okay. Very good. Now, I'm going to show you something that might be a little bit easier. So stick with me here. But I like that you did that. So here's the deal, right? Anything that's on the green calendar, on the training calendar, will automatically feed through. I'm going to show you guys how to make sure that feed is set up.
Ooh.
Okay. So as you can see here, when I'm just on my green again, all I'm seeing is things that are on the office calendar. You don't need to go to, my KW to look up the office calendar, right? You should go to look at it right on your calendar, just like any other thing that you have. Okay. I'll get back to that here in just a second. So for me, one of the things I like to put in here is you're going to see lead generation at 10 a.m. on certain days of the week, right? Lead gen, lead gen, lead gen. Okay. Now, the way I can do this is, let me click on today. Let's say I'm going to stick in a time for follow-up. Follow-up from lead generation. Okay. The way I do this is, it's not going to be all day, right? But it might be every day from, let's say in the morning, we'll do it early, 8 a.m. to 8:30 every morning is my follow-up. Okay. And then I can do, it says does not repeat here, the drop-down box. I can click on that drop-down box and do it repeats daily. It repeats weekly on Monday on the fourth Monday, right? So is it once a month? Is it once a year on the 23rd, or is it every weekday, Monday through Friday? Okay. So for this case, let me just go ahead and say it's going to be, let's do custom. Okay. So repeat every week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay. And it never ends. Or let's say it ends on December 31st. Okay. So this would be my yearly calendar. Maybe I'm putting this in. Okay. So I've got weekly on Monday, Wednesday, Friday until December 31st. Follow up for lead generation from 8 a.m. to 8:30. Now watch this, right? I go ahead and click save. Okay. And every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now, you're going to see it say follow up from lead gen. All right. And if I were to click through a few months, right, come June, you're going to see follow up from lead generation all the way across the board. Okay. So the nice thing about this is that you can set up reminders about when do you get a reminder, right? So let me click on this. I'll show you, right? So you got notifications. Do you want to add a notification? Do you want to delete one out? Okay. So every single day on my phone, because that's where the notifications come through, I'll get a notification 10 minutes ahead of time that says your follow-up from lead generation starts in 10 minutes.
Correct.
Okay. So again, we're not only using this as organization, but it also can be a little bit of an accountability partner, right? Where do I nail it every single time? Of course not. I wouldn't sit here and pretend like I do, but there is something when I've got a fire I'm putting out or I'm working on something else and I have a little thing that pops on my phone that says lead generation starts in 10 minutes, right? It just kind of triggers that mindset of, all right, I got to get this done because I got to get done what really matters. Okay. So that's how you can go in here and create events that'll repeat over and over and over again. All right. Any questions about repeating events?
No, I use it all. I use it a lot.
All right. Very good. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here to today. I'm going to delete this out. I'll show you once I click delete on this. Okay. It's going to give me the option. Do I want to do it for just this day, this and all the following events, or all the events in general? I'm going to do all the events because that's not when I do my follow-up. And then click OK. All right.
Yeah, just a little tip I found out that if I create something in my personal calendar, it goes on the business calendar. I cannot edit that on the business calendar. I've got to go back to the personal calendar, edit it.
Okay. So, and one of the things you can do, Frank, is over here on the side where it says settings and sharing, you can change who has the authority to make changes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you can see here, so Nicole at the front desk has got access to my calendar.
Yeah.
And when I shared that with her, one of the things is I gave her the rights and the permission to make changes to the events. Okay, so that you can make a change there. All right. All right. So a couple more things here. Let me go back to my calendar and my settings. Okay. So now we know how to look at the calendar, right? We know how to look at a week or 2 weeks. You can select whatever you want to see it, right? We'll go back to our monthly view. Now, one of the things is, now let me show you this, all right? Let's go to Thursday here on the 26th. So some people ask me, how do I create these appointment time slots? Okay? Now, what's the need for an appointment time slot? What's the point of having one of those?
So I can go to Nicole and she can tell me whether you're available or not, I guess.
So what this does is this gives me the opportunity that I can create, and you guys see this little window pane next to it, all right? That's really a schedule. What that does is that means I can send out a link or potentially add a link to my email signature that says, click here to sign up for an appointment with me, right? So that people can literally go in and book their own time versus them having to call or email me and say, hey, you available at 1 o'clock on Monday, right? They literally can click on a link and schedule their own appointment. Now, how can you guys use that in your business?
Well,
Clients
client, yeah,
or leads.
yeah.
Yeah, so think about listing appointments, okay? You can do that back and forth. Hey, I've got to check with my wife tonight, or I've got to check with my husband, and I'll figure out, when it's going to be, and then we'll write you back and we'll find a time that works, right? So that's a tough place to be. But if you go right here, when I create an appointment slot, let me show you how to do that first, okay? So you'll notice when I click on the 26th to create an event, okay, it gives me the option where it says appointment slot. Everybody see that?
Oh, okay.
Okay. So when I come in here, I could type in open appointment, and I can make it an appointment slot. Okay. Now it says pick the time for your appointment slot. Let's say it's going to be 8 a.m. Okay, and it's going to be from 8 a.m. until 9 a.m. Now, I have got an option. I can either make it a single slot, meaning it's a 1 hour time block to be booked. Or let's say I was going to take from 8 to 12, and 8 to 12 is my time block that I'm available for appointments. I could then say, why don't I break that up, right? So I only have to do this one time from maybe 8 to 12. And I'm going to say I want it to be in 60-minute increments of time. Okay. Then click Save. So what you're going to see is, no, it's because I did it for 2 days. Okay. So now what you're going to see is I've got this appointment slot, which you can now see it's just been created with a little window pane up next to it. If I click here on Edit, okay, now it's going to be slot durations every 60 minutes for 4 hours. Okay. Now, if I look on, this is the link that you need to post. Okay. So you can click on this link. Let me open it up in a new tab. And this, when it pulls up, is what it's going to look like. Now, you guys are seeing my calendar because I'm logged in as Kyle Holloran at kw.com. Okay?
Yeah.
When a normal consumer clicks on this, or if any of you guys were to click on this link, all you're going to see are these buttons.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, this is good. Yeah.
So now imagine you have a Monday through Friday or a Monday through Saturday, and these buttons are all scattered based on your appointment time slots.
Okay. That's I love
all right.
it.
And then someone says, all right, Frank's available on Thursday at 9 a.m. Let me go ahead and book that appointment. Okay. And then right from here, they can book, list an appointment, hit save, and then automatically that time slot is then taken away. That's no longer a button there. Okay. So the next person comes in behind you and they want to book some time with you. They're not going to see the 9 a.m. slot, right? They're only going to see 8 a.m. They're going to see 10. They're going to see 11.
So basically, Kyle, I've got somebody that we're trying to get together Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
Yep.
I've got stuff in my calendar, but I can just send him this, and he'll see open appointments, and he can pick what time he wants to meet with me.
Correct. Now let's take it a step back. I just showed you how you can make them reoccurring, right? So let's take that lead generation follow-up time, right? We can set that. When you make an appointment, you can do the same thing, right? You can make it reoccurring. And so what I did was, which you'll notice is most days, if I'm in the office Monday through Friday, right, I do all of my lead gen in the morning, okay? And then I have my open appointments in the afternoon, one from 1 to 2, 3 to 4, and then 4 to 5. Or sorry, 2:30 to 3:30, and then 3:30 to 4:30. Okay? So I set these up one time, and then I made them reoccurring throughout the week based on when I know, right, I'm going to be around. So for instance, on Fridays, I've got my call with Kel Williams International and John Davis, our CEO. So I can't be there for an appointment at 1 o'clock on Friday. So I just delete that one out, right? And these are my 2 appointment slots on Friday. So hopefully we can get out of here a little bit early if we have everything done. Okay? So that's what you can do with these appointment slots. And just like you said, Frank, you can add this to the bottom of your line. Now let me show you how we're going to do this. Okay? Let me go back. All right, so I click on this link, yes? And this is what pops up. So this is the URL that someone would have to go to in order to book time with you.
Yeah.
Okay? So what you can do is you highlight the entire URL and copy that URL. Okay? Under your settings, okay, on your Gmail, okay, so where this is back in our email, okay, you could go down to your email signature. Okay, and here's my email signature. Let me go down here, right? It gives you the option of adding a link. Okay, so I can click this link, and this says 2 things. The first thing it says is text to display.
Yes.
And the second is to what URL should this link go? Okay, so the link I just copied where they need to go is the link I just copied.
Correct.
Now, I want to go back up here where it says text to display, and I want to write schedule time with me now.
Yeah.
Right? Or give them a what do they call it? Call to action. Click here to book time now. All right?
Okay.
And then we hit OK.
Excellent. Excellent.
Now you're going to see that became a hyperlink, right, that says click here to book time now. Okay? Now if I go back down here and I click save, let's pretend like I'm going to open up a new email. You're going to see now in my Google Calendar signature is book time now. Okay?
Yes.
And they click on that link, and they're going to end up right here to figure out what open appointments you have.
Okay.
So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to limit the back and forth between you, vendors, whatever, and you're just going to say, hey, click on here and book the best time that works for you. Right? Take it out of the hands of that back and forth. All right? Any questions on that at all?
I love it. I love it.
That's awesome.
All right. As soon as they book, you get an email alert that says,
Yes.
Frank has just now booked time with you on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Okay? Any questions about setting up the appointment time slots in the Google Calendar?
No, not for me.
Nope.
Wally, you good?
Yeah.
Maggie, you good?
I understand why you said if you're not going to use it, then you shouldn't set it up.
Yeah, I mean,
if you have a client, you're not. I mean, if you're not gonna use it all the time, you're right. It's not much point in it.
yeah. Now, what you don't want to do is if you go in and you book out appointments. This has happened to me, and that's why I'm telling you because I've had people right. If I go in and I book out a week's worth of appointments, so I know what my week looks like this week from Monday to Friday, and then I put in appointment slots. Then that signature is still in my email. And someone on Thursday goes to book, and there's no appointment slots for the next 3 weeks. Okay, now we look like idiots, right?
Right.
You know, what I do is, and you can ask Nicole at the front desk, I typically will go in and change them based on what I've got going on this week. All right, so over the weekend on Sunday, I'll go in and, like, for instance, I did this for yesterday afternoon because I've got an appointment now Wednesday afternoon. I had my 2:30 and my 3:30 appointment slots open for Wednesday. But once I realized I had to go meet this guy, I had to delete those 2 out so that someone wouldn't book those 2 times with me. So it does. It takes a little bit of time, whether it's going to be on a weekly or a bi-weekly basis,
Right.
to go in and kind of map out, you know, when are you actually available.
But it's a hell of a lot better
Something
than
pops
playing.
up, right? If the date night pops up or dinner, you got to be ready to go in there and turn off that appointment slot so that someone doesn't go in there and book it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, if you guys are going to be on this, I want to make sure everyone knows how to get the Keller Williams calendar on here. Okay. So the way you're going to do that is you're going to log into kw.com. You're going to log into eEdge. Okay, so that we can get into the intranet. Okay, does everyone know how to log into eEdge?
Oh, yes.
If you don't, you need to start there.
By the way, you know, Keller Williams have an extension now, a Chrome extension.
Do they?
Yes.
Really?
It basically gives you everything that we have, you know, and you can log in on it.
That's awesome. Thanks, Wally. I didn't know that. I have to look into that. Who owns Chrome?
Google. Who owns the world?
That is true.
Really scary. Don't get me going.
I know. No, Tony Giordano the other day, he said, is it scary? Absolutely. Am I going to take advantage of it? Yeah, absolutely. It was just funny because he just said, you know, I mean, they're following you everywhere you go. Don't think that they're not. I mean, everything that you click on,
absolutely.
They know. And so he just said, you know, just be aware of that.
Who's they?
Everybody.
Everybody.
I mean, it's just an extension of, you know, Uncle Sam is following you now.
Oh, they definitely are. Yep.
Yeah, then everything you do now.
Yep. All right, so we're on eEdge, right? And I just clicked on the Market Center intranet page, okay? Which brings up this form right here. Most of you guys, I think, are very aware of seeing this, and all of you guys have seen this before.
Right.
Okay? In the top right-hand corner, this is where we've got our calendar, and then you see the button here that says View Calendar. Go ahead and click View Calendar. All right. All right, so here's our intranet calendar. Obviously, we're on Zoom right now. Then we've got our team meeting. We got contract training, open house class on Wednesday, roundtable Thursday morning, right? All right. So what you're going to do is up here, there's this subscribe button, okay? Go ahead and click subscribe. Now, you have to know, right, what type of device are you using, okay? If you're going to be running this through the Gmail calendar, you're going to want to make sure you click on this Google Android, all right? If you're going to use your iCloud or your iCalendar on your Mac, Maggie, you're going to need to make sure you click on this button here.
Oh.
All right, and Wally, tend it out. If you're going to be using your Outlook, you're going to need this button here.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm going to show you guys through Google, because that's the way I know the way it works. If I click on Google Android, it's going to bring up this screen here. It's going to say the simplest way to add this feed to your Google Calendar is to click on the button below. This will open a new window to Google Calendar and provide the private URL for this feed. The other option is to simply copy and paste this URL right down here below. I don't know why I found more success for just copying and pasting this URL than going through the button.
Oh, you're a back agent. Oh my God. I'm an idiot. Hold on.
You know where we are, Maggie?
No, I'm not usually.
All right, but do you know where we are in terms of?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
All right, so calendar, subscribe, Google Android, and then I'm going to copy this link. Okay. All right, everybody with me?
Yeah.
All right, on Google Calendar, it says add a coworker's calendar, and then there's a plus sign here. You see that? It says add other calendars. So in this case, I'm going to click add other calendars. All right, new calendar will be as if you're creating your own calendar, right? So no syndication. But the third one down, it says from URL. Everybody see that?
Yes.
So you're going to click from URL. It's going to ask you what is the URL of the calendar. You're going to right-click, paste the link from Back Agent, and then you're going to go ahead and click Add Calendar. Okay?
Okay.
And then what should happen is it should show up down here, right? Like right now, this one just showed up as purple, but I already have mine in green, so I'm not going to hit Add. right? But now it's in purple. All right, add calendar, and then it should be, I'll just go ahead and delete it if I need to, right? Now it's in here. Now I've got a purple calendar. All right. Now, give it some time to feed in, okay? So if it doesn't appear here right away, if you did click add calendar, go back in an hour or so and refresh your calendar and see if it picked it up, okay? Because this is just basically like any other feed, right? All we did was put out into the world, hey, we want to grab that feed and bring it into us. So now that's what we're going to wait on Google to go do, okay? If I make a change on the intranet calendar, it'll show up here pretty quickly, but it's not immediate, okay? So just like Zillow, imagine Zillow going out and grabbing data from the MLS, right? Google's doing the same thing. It's going out every so often and grabbing data from that calendar and making sure that if there's been any updates, it makes that update, right? But typically it's just a few hours, it's not like days, but just realize that if we make a change, go back in and look at your calendar and make sure that it's synced up, okay? Now, easily underneath each calendar, you're gonna see this little button here, the little ellipses, okay? Where you can change the color. All right, so right now, all the office things are coming up in green. Let's say I wanted to change that and I wanted them all to come up in blue. Okay, I can just change the color of my calendar and now all of my little Keller Williams buttons are blue. Does that make sense? So if you want to color code that way, then you can do it whatever way you feel necessary. Let me go back to green here. Back to light green. Pistachio. All right. And again, I can now layer on as many calendars as I want and then take them off as I go as well. Okay? Questions? Everybody good there?
Yep.
All right, so we covered the calendar, right? Adding in time slots, adding in recurring time slots, and then giving yourself an opportunity to book appointments, and then also making sure that the Keller Williams office calendar is in your calendar. Right? Right? All right, so the last thing is, does anyone here use tasks at all?
I do.
All right, so you should see it over here underneath your calendar. There's a button that says tasks.
Yep.
Okay? Now, what this does is imagine this is your checklist. Okay? And so what you can do is, you're going to see, let me move my thing out of the way here. All right? What you're going to do is, I can clear these out, but I can add tasks. So imagine, so this is both, again, guys, for business and personal. One of the things that I have the biggest time struggling with is every single Friday, I've got to book my dog walker for the following week. And if I don't have it in by Sunday morning, I can't get on the calendar, right? So you can imagine, you guys know me, I wake up Monday morning and I go, oh my gosh, I didn't book the dog walker. So what you can do is, when you enable tasks over here on the left-hand side, one of the things that's going to pop up is now you have event, task, and appointment slots.
Yep.
All right. So let's say I'm going to go down here to June and I'm going to say book hotel room for vacation. Okay. I can make that a task. It's not going to have anything to do with time. It's only going to be by date, okay? Then I can click Save. All right? Now you're going to notice my tasks are then in purple. All right? Now down here on the side, I can click saying that it's done. All right?
All right.
So you can see now this is all by chronological order. All right? So once I click that, you're going to see it gets scratched out. But I can unclick it, bring it back to life again. Now let's say I needed to move this into earlier, right? Let's say, all right, no, I need to do this on Friday beforehand. I can just move that task up top there, right? So one of the nice things is, let's say you talk to somebody this afternoon, you say, you know, I got to give that person a call back today. Now that should be going in your CRM, but at a very minimum, right? Go in here and make it a task, call back Frank, and hit save. All right. Now I can just pull up my day screen and I see my task that needs to get done today. Right, I see what all my meetings are that I have tomorrow. Right, now let's say I don't get that task done, I can just move it over to tomorrow and make sure I call Frank today. Right, so you can really build out these tasks. Again, you can make them reoccurring, or you can schedule them so that I've got all of my day-to-day tasks that I need to get done in there right there on the screen. Okay? So if you guys use checklists, this is basically what that is, just time specific to the day in which you need to make sure it's done. Now, let's say I go in here and I'm done all these different tasks here, right? This is it in a checklist form. I go down here to actions, and I can clear my completed tasks.
Right.
Right? And now I just see the things I need to get done just here on these days. Okay? Call back Frank. Clear. All right? So this is a great way. Let's just say call Wally. Right, now what I can do is I can assign a time to that now. Let's say that's going to be due on Friday. Call Wally. Back to my list, right? Now there's Wally. Now let's say I get to Friday and I didn't call Wally, or I didn't do it. I can now move him down to Monday, right? And you can see he just moved now from Friday to then April 30th, next Monday at call Wally. Okay?
Yep.
So I feel like this is a fairly underutilized piece too that, and you guys know how it is. I mean, my job, your roles, you got people coming at you from all these different angles. You got inspectors calling you, appraisals, clients, hey, can you give me this? Can you give me that? So when you're in that craziness of the day, at a minimum, if you keep this task list open, you can just keep coming in here and typing in, meet with Maggie, right? And at the end of the day, even I can then go back and then go and schedule these so I make sure I don't have anything that drops through the cracks. Okay? So that's Google Calendar at a basic level. What's very interesting is there's a lot more that you can dig into in this calendar, but I feel like that's where you have to start, right? Your basics are just adding events, keeping yourself organized, connecting it to your phone, okay? And the way that you connect it to your phone is, depending on your phone, you go into your settings and it says add calendar, right? And then it prompts you to go ahead and log into your Gmail account that's associated with your calendar, and that's what brings it into your phone. Okay, and then if you want Siri, but when you talk to her to add it to this calendar, you got to make sure that in your phone settings that your Google Calendar is the default calendar. Okay, Siri is going to add things to whatever your default calendar is. So a lot of times your iCalendar is going to be the default calendar on your phone unless you go in there and you change it to your Google Calendar. Okay. What questions do you guys have about Google Calendar? Anything that I went over here a little bit too fast? Do you guys think what I showed you you can implement? Comments, questions, what you got?
Well, it's pretty easy to just say, okay, 9 to 12 or 9 to 11 every morning is going to be lead generation, and just make it an ongoing event, recurring event.
Yep.
And it just blocks that time out. And you can always adjust it. You gotta have strong will here, guys. I mean, we're hearing a lot of the, I can't lead generate because my home inspector can only do an appointment at 10 a.m. All right. Well, if I asked you if you had a hot listing, a listing presentation to do at 10 a.m., right? Would you move lead generation? Just know that there are certain things that you'd move, right? Yeah.
The opportunity to do a home inspection or do an $800,000 warm listing presentation, I would guarantee you're probably going to be on that listing presentation, right? So just try to block your calendar out. It takes a little bit of time, but you can do this in an hour, right? Kind of set up, like Frank said, what's your framework of a day? And then you can start building in around that, okay? And another little tip here is don't block yourself hour for hour.
No.
Right? You got to give yourself some leeway time in between your appointments because things are going to run over. So if you've got to block in, 20 minutes of follow-up after each meeting, then block that in. Okay? You can block in, check your emails every day at 11 a.m. That way you know that between 9 and 11, you're on the phone making your phone calls, and right at 11 o'clock, you're getting back into your email again, and you're going to be following up with all those people. All right? Wally, Maggie, you guys have anything or any other clarification or any ahas?
No, I'm good. I'm glad I tuned in. It helped me. I don't think it's something that I'm going to follow through with, though.
Okay. I think that's fine, right? No one's here to
I just do really well with a monthly calendar.
Yep.
It's what I've been doing for years, that paper calendar where you can open it and look at it.
Yep.
I just think, I'm just not going to go that way.
Well, and I think it's like anything else, right? Do it the way, again, the way that you're going to do it. You know, that's the key of
It's amazing
to show you ways to get your business better. But if it's that way, then do it. I mean, it's no different than Gary Keller talks about. You know, you should be using your little card box, right, for all your contacts until you understand what it means to have a follow-up system, right? And then you get to enter all those cards into a database. I think it's the same thing. You should probably be on a paper calendar until you feel very good with it and understand what it does for you. And then at some point, if it's easier to transition over, then great. And if not, that's fine too.
Right.
Maggie, you can also print the this calendar out.
I know, and you know what? It's a great tool. It's just, and I would love to say, oh, I'm gonna do it, but I don't think I am.
I think that's one of your six-person perspectives, right? Self-mastery. Know what you're good at, what you're not going to do, and what you are, and then use your strengths around that. So, yep.
Thank you.
For sure. All righty, buddy. Hope that was helpful to you.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Yep, I'll see you guys all team meeting tomorrow at 11 a.m.
Okay, bye.
See ya.
Bye.
See you, Wally.
Okay, bye.